Hello there. I think I like the sort of hop up a little bit more than I do the hop from the side, but we'll keep workshopping it regardless. Today, I have a brewer that tickles me so much that I don't think I can even properly describe it to you without just showing it. So let me go get it. I would like a drum roll, please. Bum, 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 bum. And this right here is the Bripe. If you have been on the coffee side of the internet for any amount of time, you probably saw this making the rounds, give it like a year and a half or maybe even 2 years ago now. Safe to say, I'm pretty late to the party on this. Now, by reading the front of the box, the Bripe is in fact the coffee brew pipe, which is just a tickling combination of words to me. I have somehow avoided seeing in person, ever handling, ever even really watching any videos about the Bripe because I knew that at some point in the future, I would want to talk about this, and I didn't want to like spoil that like first experience I was going to have. So I'm going into this today completely blind. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to do it together, and fingers crossed, we get some tasty coffee. Let's break into this. Now, upon opening your Bripe box, you have two things. You have some instructions, and you also have this nice little carrying case for all your Bripe components. Once everything is unpacked from the case, you'll find kind of 4 primary things. The first, and arguably the most important, is the Bripe itself. This truly does tickle me to no end. Now, the Bripe right now is sitting on the little stand that comes with it. You'll note on the bottom it has this kind of like indent, and if you try to stand the Bripe up on its own, it's possible, but it's pretty wobbly. So this is a nice solution. Inside the Bripe, you have your filter system. This is a small metal filter that is essentially adjustable. It's a little bit hard to see even in person, but if you hold up this filter to the light, you'll notice that these holes are of 3 different sizes, so you can make adjustments in theory based on what grind size you're using. And then you can just kind of like rotate this as you need, or just slots back in there. The Bripe itself is made out of copper. On the exterior, you have this kind of etched mark, which is an indicator for your water levels if you're not using a scale. You have this little cork, which will help protect you as the metal heats up. And you have a nice, ooh, I didn't like that. A little soft tip for ease of drinking, if you will. I'm just gonna not think about that right now. Now, one of your other components that the Bripe comes with is going to be a thermometer. If you'll notice, actually, with your filter right here, it has this hole on top, and that is meant so your thermometer can just kind of rest easily there. You don't have to think about it or touch it much. Additionally, you have this nice little plastic tube. This is for if you would like to carry your coffee in your Bripe carrying case. This is what it's for. It's nothing exceptional, but nice to have. And then lastly, you have your heat source. This is a butane lighter. One thing to note with your Bripe kit is that this does not come pre-filled with butane, kind of obviously, so you will have to go procure your own butane for this. It's a nice small lighter. If you have kitchen torches or anything of the like, you're probably pretty familiar with these. I can imagine a world where you potentially would brew your Bripe over like a campfire or something of the like, but because I do not have currently a campfire around me, nor do I really trust myself to brew over such a large flame, I'm excited to use this. We all know how I feel about fire around here. Okay, let's read instructions and let's get brewing. First instruction, set your filter in place and visually inspect that it covers the hole at the bottom of the stem. Check, we have done that. Seems to be pretty secure. I will also note that I am choosing to use what is essentially the smallest of the filter hole sizes. Just with my past experience with metal filters, especially in scenarios like this, going smaller tends to be better. It's pretty inevitable that you're gonna get like some grit and chew and fines coming through the filter. So as much as we can negate that up front, I would like to do that. Number 2, add your ground coffee or tea. Ooh, you could brew tea with this. Fill grind to the top of the inner cone, which is approximately 5 grams of coffee, and then add water, approximately 30 mils, up to this little etched mark that we saw earlier. So if you don't want to bring a scale with you, one would assume that 30 mils comes up to approximately here. Using the thermometer as a stir stick, carefully stir, but be careful not to pull or upset the stainless filter. This could result in coffee grounds escaping the filter. Place the brew pipe on the base plate and pick up the pipe by the cork. Warning, the copper will get very hot during heating. Do not touch the copper. I'm gonna make mental notes of this. We all know how I am with instructions. Heat the interior cone from the bottom of the pipe with the Blue Flame Quad Jet torch lighter, quite the tongue twister, until brew temperature of almost 185 degrees Fahrenheit / 85 degrees Celsius is reached. And again, warning, fire is dangerous. Please be cautious in using flame to heat the brew pipe. Then set the brew pipe back on the base to cool. Gently stir the coffee cake and water with the end of the thermometer. Allow the coffee to cool to a safe drinking temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit / 60 degrees Celsius. If desired, add milk and sugar. When ready to drink, pick up the brew pipe by the cork and blow gently into the mouthpiece to stir and mix the coffee and water. Try your brew by drinking through the stem. Okay. We'll cross that road when we get to it. Now I have some water and some coffee and also a scale for some accuracy here. Get our little station set up. Let's also make sure that this lighter is mostly filled with butane. We don't have a ton of guidance on where to start with grind size, so I've gone pretty middle of the road. This is just like kind of a true medium, and then we'll adjust from there. Really have no idea what to expect in what I think is the best possible way. All right, 5 grams, 4.6, 4.9, 5. Nice little shake just to settle, and then 30 mils. It also doesn't specify what temperature your water should start at. I'm using water that it's definitely not cold. This was at brewing temperature a while back, so this is kind of just maybe a little bit above room temperature. 30 in. Okay, now we're supposed to kind of gently stir with our thermometer, trying to keep away from the edges of the Bripe as much as possible, just so we don't touch the filter. And then I'm gonna place my thermometer. We are aiming for approximately, let me check. We are aiming for approximately 185 degrees Celsius. Here goes nothing. Temperature is definitely rising. It's a little bit warm on the fingers. Like I can feel it even up here at the cork, but it's not unbearable. This is totally fine. Although by doing this with the torch, I'm realizing that a campfire would be near impossible. All right, we're at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, rapidly approaching 160. This is really testing my skills of multitasking. We've just passed 160. We're going fast. 170, 180. Turn off the flame. All right, set this back down once more. Carefully, we stir our little puck, place that back in. And now we get to wait. We're gonna wait for this to get back to a very drinkable 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I will say the part I am most nervous about in this scenario is the fact that prior to drinking through the straw, we are instructed to first blow through the straw, which I imagine is gonna create a sort of bubbling, stirring effect. I will also say this is a very small amount of coffee to be brewing for quite a bit of labor. Not necessarily a bad thing, just a thing to note. Now while this continues to cool, which I'm guessing is probably gonna take like about 4 minutes here at this rate, let me give you some more information off of this lovely one sheet. Cleaning your brew pipe. Copper will tarnish, but the tarnishing is not dangerous to human health. If you wish to clean or polish your brew pipe, here is a simple method that does not damage it. Fill a container with water large enough to hold the brew pipe, add a teaspoon of salt and squeeze half a lemon into the salt water. Submerge the pipe in the mixture. Check the brew pipe every 30 minutes until it is bright and shiny once again. Wash with warm water and soap, dry with a towel. The solder is food grade silver solder. So just some more information if you were curious. I imagine this is definitely not an everyday brewer. This is probably just your camping brewer. So giving it a quick clean and set to the side sounds like a very good thing to do, but I don't anticipate you would have to do that very often. We are about 2 minutes into our cool down time, and we are just now reaching about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to drink this so badly right now. I cannot tell you how excited I am about all of this. Okay, we are just about to 140 degrees, so let's execute on this first step here, which is not inhaling from the straw. It is in fact blowing into the straw, or pipe, pardon me. Okay, all right, here goes nothing. Maybe not 2 hands. Okay, step 1 is done. Let's have a sip now. boy. Oh, today is a fun day. Let's talk about it. I will say one of the most disconcerting things to me is drinking out of like an opaque straw from something where the liquid that I can see is not actually the final liquid. When you take a sip of this, you kind of have no idea what's coming at you in both a thrilling and also terrifying way. However, what I did taste was pretty interesting. If y'all remember, we're using 5 grams of ground coffee to about 30 mils of water. So that is like a 1:6 ratio, if I'm doing my math really quickly in my head, which is an interesting ratio to brew coffee at, especially at like a filter level of grind. What we have ended up with here is not super close to filter coffee, but I would honestly describe it very closely to like Turkish coffee in both consistency and also flavor. It's very like robust. It is like a strong, like slightly more like intense, leaning towards bitter coffee flavor. It's not super bitter and unpleasant, but it's like a very traditional like profile of coffee is what we have here. But what's most interesting to me is the like consistency and mouthfeel of this. As I kind of anticipated with this metal filter, you do get like a bit of bite and grit to all of this. It's not anything unbearable. It is like fully within the range of normal, in my opinion. But it reminds me very much of Turkish coffee in a way where I'm anticipating if you put a little bit of sugar in here, this could become very, very enjoyable very quickly. And with understanding what type of coffee it is we have brewed here, the amount and like size of coffee we have makes a lot more sense to me. I personally don't think I would want to drink a lot more than like 30 mils of this at any given time, so it worked out in the end. Here, I'm gonna take another sip. I don't know, I am so unbelievably tickled by this. In the past, probably like at least 2 years ago now, I reviewed a product that was essentially like a coffee brewing straw, really similar to what people use with mate. And it didn't work super well. There were a lot of things and scenarios that made it pretty unfunctional. However, this kind of works in my opinion. This is definitely a novelty brewer. I don't think there are many people, there probably are some, but not many people who would be using this in their everyday brewing. However, to show off with a friend, during camping, to take out at a party, this is truly a good time. And additionally, it brews coffee pretty well. I was really nervous that we were gonna be like fully off with the grind size initially and we just end up with something kind of disastrous, but even with like a first go at kind of a medium level of grind, we resulted with something that's pretty tasty. Now, in fact, one of the recommendations was that after you are finished with your brewing and your cooling, to add a little bit of sugar and then sip that all through the pipe. So before we wrap up today, I do want to do that because I think it's going to be tasty. Just like a little bit of white sugar. Nothing crazy. Once more, we'll give that a stir. Ooh. Little bit of a spill there. First thing to do, blow to incorporate. What I'm really wishing for here is like Gandalf levels of like smoke circles to appear. But let's have a sip. It's just a lovely little dessert coffee. This is such a treat. So with that being said, thank you for being here for my first run through with the Bripe. This was truly a delight, and I am so glad to have finally added one of these to my collection. Now, if you have a Bripe and have experience with it, I would love to know your use case for this, because I think I have a couple in my mind that I honestly will probably take this on the go for, but let me know what you use your Bripe for. Additionally, if there are any other strange, weird, unusual, equally ticklish coffee devices that you want me to take a peek at, I would be happy to do so. So also let me know down in the comments below. My name is Morgan. You can find me here on YouTube once a week plus shorts. Additionally, you can find me on TikTok or Instagram almost every single day. This was truly one of the most fun times with coffee I've had in a long time. I hope you had a good time too. So I'm gonna go take this. I'm gonna go drink the rest of this, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.